Scenario number four. Scenario number four states that this superintendent, he has turned things over to this person as being the superintendent's designee. Superintendent works, and it says this is Miss Willie what I had read. It says superintendent works on an as need basis, but the superintendent, designee was in charge, and I would say definitely it's a privilege to work as a designee on the IMAT team, instructional materials allotment team. It's a privilege, and yes, math had been allocated cost of $70,000. FFA has asked for $5,000, English $20,000, social studies $20,000, and of course science $20,000 as well. But science was out of compliance of their safety equipment. As leader, I would deal with that situation first. I would deal with the science situation first, make sure they are in compliance. I would prioritize the needs. Safety comes first. That would be science, and I wouldn't want our school to be fined or cited for being out of compliance. Number two would be with the remaining monies that were left over, I would evenly distribute those. As an administrator, I would make a phone call to the superintendent and glean from his or her experience and ask them what to do in specific cases like that. A couple things that I found as it comes to instructional materials, and this was sent out on June 24th, 2017 to the administrators, as addressed to all the administrators in Texas. And the subject was for the instructional materials allotment of fiscal year 2018 and 2019. The House Bill of 1474, 84th Texas Legislature 2015, changed the IMA from an annual allocation to a biennial allocation and required that the Texas education agency to make the full amount available to districts at the beginning of each biennium. The amounts in the EMAT must serve districts for 2 full school years. District personnel responsible for making instructional materials and educational technology purchasing decisions will want to carefully plan the 2-year spending to ensure that the funds are available when they are needed. And of course, there is an amount that's needed, but although the amounts will soon be available, it says in EMAT, the actual funds will be not available until after September 1st, 2017. Until that time, districts and open enrollment charter schools may use unexpended funds, or which is also called, of course, carryover funds for IMA expenditure. So they can use actually carryover funds for the IMA, and including newly adopted instruction materials, continuing contracts, technology equipment, and/or technology services. If carryover funds are not available, districts may order materials through requisitions up to 80% of the 2018-19 IMA funds through the delayed payment option. And the delayed payment option under the Texas Education Code of 31.0215 enables districts to requisition and receive state-adopted instruction materials before the actual IMA funds are available. And so they could have requisitions up to 80%, which is positive, and they can also use carryover funds that weren't spent the previous year. I would look into those 2 funds. One thing that I took from Yvette Jackson, Aim High, Achieve More, How to Transform Urban Schools Through Fearless Leadership on page 70, she spoke about these 2 individuals. One was a psychologist, and one's a cognitive psychologist, and the other one is Egyptologist. An earnest, heartfelt question. And this is the question they posed. What do we need to transform schools for students? His reply was shocking simplicity and profound in its implications. And he said, we need to start by loving our students. Love, you might ask, what? Love? And Yvette said, love doesn't help with test scores, adequate yearly progress, AYP goals, or report cards. The answer is no. Love has nothing to do with the test scores, AYP, report cards, and equation. But it has everything to do with the community, learning, inspiration, and school-dependent students. An interesting byproduct of love is it emancipates and empowers both the object and giver of love. is transformative, and it's free. Love is free. It can be cultivated by anyone with big dreams, big ears willing to listen, and big heart to willing to love. And I would say that you can have all the funds in the world, but if teachers in the classroom do not love young people and show that love, that they care for them, um, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And yeah, you might have a bunch of instruction materials, but it might fall on deaf ears with that. So I would encourage teachers to love, and those funds can be accessed or carry over and up to 80% as well.